Greetings and salutations. Ben and RJ here. You guys right about there, and this is the Sunday night hanging right here on Sunday, because as the name entails. And we're working as hard as we can, folks. And some of us even have a bad back. I'm not going to say which one. Here we are.
Lighting. Here we are.
Awesome. Well, welcome back, my friend.
Thanks for having me. Sorry I'm a little bit late.
Yeah, things happen. That's okay. We got a bunch of people in here already. I'm going to do some roll call here. You'll probably recognize a bunch of these fine folks. Let's see here. We got starting in the chat, some Dave Dude, followed by Earl Coli, L Bar J, JP Page 2, Sir William of Bologna the Third, formerly Billy Baloney, but he's moving uptown. It's like Jefferson's or something. I don't know. Bird Burfle's here. Who else? Randy Crooks is here. Ryan Hall, our music and law, of course, is here. Who else we got? Scott Sanders. Nice to see Scott. McCollum Music.
Yeah.
Steve Reeser. Steve's here. Awesome. Terry's 3Gs. Unfucking Believable is here. Nice. Proud new owner of a beautiful Explorer. Just saying. William De Silva is here. The Glass Man. Who else we got here? Marcel LeBlanc. Hip Metal Works. Zach Thong. Steve Cassidy Guitar. Awesome. Eric Combs. Searching for Tone is here. Great to see Brian. Who else we got? Zach Thong is here. Martian Murray, who's neither Martian nor Murray, but I like him. Just say it. Who else we have here? Zach Thong again. Nice. Greasy Monkey Guitars. Great to see you. Richard Clark. Always a pleasure. Eston Ray. Whew. You guys are very social with each other. There's Charles 75N. The Ubi. Dan Gorman. They probably all carpooled because they all arrived at the same time. It's the only reason I can think. Michael Krause is here, and I haven't banned him yet. That's fine. I might, but I won't. Happy anniversary, Michael Krause, by the way.
Happy anniversary, Michael.
I think that... Oh, Rico B is here. Guitar Man 45. Oh, yeah, that's about the time I hit live. Richard Nagamitsu. Yeah. But to the usual suspects. Carpool. Yeah, there. See, caught up. That's how you know. You make a reference and there it is. Awesome. So first of all, I see you got back to your roots and played a Stalker Stadium recently.
Yeah. So I got to play 30 seconds of whatever I wanted to for the Nashville SC Soccer Club game against Charlotte.
Nice.
It was fun. It was a great experience. I had never been to the soccer stadium here.
Mm-hmm.
I think it opened up 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
And so my first soccer game here, and I got to play and take advantage of the nice VIP box and see some friends. And
nice.
It was really cool. It's a really nice. If you're ever in Nashville, anyone, and there's a soccer game, you should go because it's a really nice experience that they do.
Mm-hmm. Right on. Like now, my big question was, where did that Les Paul come from?
So the team has their own gear. So they have the Les Paul Custom, which is really cool, and then they have a Telly. And they both have the branding, the team branding. And I think usually they have a Line 6 Helix set up. I brought my Quad Cortex just because I have a sound in there that I really like.
Right.
But I think they might have Marshalls too, or they used to have real amps if they chose to. Because I know years ago Dave Mustaine did it, and he had a wall of Marshalls. So it might have been him that brought it, but
nice.
Yeah, every home game they have a guitar player play the opening riff, what they call
it. I saw that. That was my first time. I was like, "Ooh, that guitar is was it the team owned? I'm like, some had Bumblebee vibes going on as well. I was like, I don't know. I need to ask.
Yeah, it was really cool. I don't know who. I should have asked who did the artwork, but it was a really nice Les Paul custom. Stayed in tune and sounded good.
Nice.
I'm sure Gibson provided it or something.
I would imagine Gibson may have a box there at the stadium.
Maybe.
They might. They just might.
Yeah.
Let's see,
I
everyone.
need to see the chat. I need to see what's going on in the
Time
chat.
Surf Leon is here. Bonkers is here. Nice, good. And Ryan Hall's like, we have a soccer team? Yes, Ryan.
Yeah, Nashville Soccer Club.
I'm trying to think. I think the last time I went to a professional soccer game would have been about 20 years ago now. And that was the inaugural season of Toronto FC.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah.
And
now they're an institution.
I've only been to a soccer game in Argentina, but I've never been to like any more US MLS games.
Mm-hmm.
I like soccer. That's one of my. I'm not a big sports guy, but I do like soccer and I like hockey.
I enjoyed
The
it.
Euro sports.
Mm-hmm. What's up, Arf, Keith H., John Parsons, and Jeremy Baker? And John Parsons asks, any cool Eastwood guitars that you've tried lately?
Yes. Can't tell you what it is yet because I don't know when we're doing the video, but it's something that I don't think they've ever done. And it's definitely something that I've never, ever demoed in my life.
Ooh. And you've covered a lot of ground in guitars.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's definitely a new thing for me, but it was fun.
They've installed a trans trem. No, that's not it.
I'm not going to say anything. I wish it was a trans trem. It's
right.
It's close. I'm not going to say anything though. I think the video should be out early June.
Nice. What's up, 3J Music?
Or maybe not. Maybe it's next week. You know what? It's going to be next Friday.
Well, there we are. Richard Nagamitsu says, need to get out to see the Charlotte Football Club. They're building a new practice facility near my house. There you go.
Oh, nice.
Right on. What could it be? And then John says, what did you think of the Eastwood Send models that you demoed?
They're great. I got to play Jeff Send's prototype as well as, so I got to compare what Jeff actually built and compare it to what the China, I think it might have been Korea, I can't remember, but what the factory built. And it was, I mean, obviously I'm gonna like Jeff's personal build a little bit better, but they did pretty good considering, and the pickups were really nice. They looked like humbuckers, but they were actually single coils.
Interesting. Some Dave dude likes your Metallica shirt. Of course. How can you not?
This was my purchase from the show. I had to buy something. I haven't owned a Metallica shirt since 1990, probably.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm due to get another one, come to think of it. That's one I don't have. I'm due.
They're a little different. Like I'm looking at, I don't know if you can tell, but like I looked at the logo looks a little bit different than what I remember it, or maybe it's just the printing is quite different. But it when I saw it, I'm like, this doesn't look like the one I had in 1989. But
what's up, Donnie? The voice of Cornhole in the chat. Boston.
Yay!
Nice. Yeah, it looked like you had a nice, decent spot there to catch the act, and
yeah, it was great. You know,
you didn't have the Jack White elevation, but
he was only maybe 4 feet tall. I don't know. Yeah, about 4 feet tall.
Those platform things, when you were showing them, it just reminded me of like, what was it, like WrestleMania 3 when they had those things coming out to the ring. That's what it just looked like. They're roped off to get out to the ring. That's my first thought. I was like, is going on?
It's a
But they
weird
do it every
setup.
show.
Yeah, so I guess it's 4 of those platforms that have the towers with the screens on them. And on those platforms, they usually have some sort of VIP people on it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no seats or anything. They're just up there to stand, but I'm sure there was other people on
So
the
who
other
really
ones that
sits
I
at a
do know.
Metallica concert, anyways, right?
Yeah,
I would,
you
but
can't. I would now from my back, and if I had nosebleeds, yeah, I would totally sit and I'd be like, yeah. But I think that's the best way to see a stadium show, in my opinion, is uh, if you can get tickets for the floor, and if
Mhm.
it's general admission, it just feels like a festival to me.
Right.
Whereas, like, if you're stuck in seats, you're kind of just stuck there the whole show. And
Mm-hmm.
I get claustrophobic, so I like to be able to just roam around and just have
Sure.
space. Like when we went to see the Rolling Stones at the stadium, we kind of did that. And I'm like, I think I like this is the way I want to see concerts, if I can.
Mm-hmm.
But I think AC/DC is actually playing this week here, but
Ooh.
we're not going. And
Ah.
that's one concert. That's a bucket list concert for me.
Mm-hmm.
So if I miss this one, that's it.
What's up, Mark's gas station? Good to see you. Where was that question? I saw Donnie mentions he got so drunk and passed out at a Metallica concert at Foxborough. Well, there we are. That's fine. Rico B
Done that.
says, ask both of us, what's our thoughts on the James Tyler import guitars?
Which one? Sorry, you cut out.
The James Tyler import guitars.
You know what? They haven't sent me one yet. I think they were supposed to send me one to like demo or to check out, but
Mm-hmm.
haven't gotten one yet. I'd like to though. I heard they're really good, for the price
Sure.
and Chinese made. Um, I think they definitely scratch the itch.
Right. I'm curious if
And I
they have
think they're what
anything close as far as the preamp wiring options and stuff, then ooh, that would be awesome. What's up, Johnny?
you can have the preamp, but as far as like modifying the switching, you have to do that on your own or whatever. But it's $1,800 for a Tyler. It's not bad.
Right on. Hey, Noise Bloom is here. Good to see you. Let's see, where else did I see you there? Jerry Baker says they saw Arcade Fire in Atlanta. Okay. Too many drunk people who have no sense of personal space. Well, that usually happens with the drinkers. Everyone's talking about Robert Baker's new Tyler. Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually Derek's from Rev. He just borrowed it. In fact, Derek is supposed to stop by to pick up an amp later, but he hasn't texted me, so if he does, I might have to run upstairs. Or maybe I'll bring the iPad and invite him to the chat.
Right. I think I remember talking to him years ago about coming on the show. We're like, yeah, let's do it. Never did it. Just me totally.
He's a busy man.
He is.
He's like, I didn't even know he was traveling here.
Charles says those drinking people just need support. Yes. Physical, right? Hold them up. Sure. Richard Clark says, I don't think Derek's getting that one back. He might. Especially since, Baker just got his vintage Charvel back as well. So.
Right.
The Crackle. That was one thing on my list. I wouldn't mind a Crackle guitar in my life.
I've never owned a Crackle, I don't think.
Same.
But that Ibanez Paul Stanley Iceman that I played at Carter, which the video will be out in a couple of weeks or whatever, but I'm this close to buying it. It was a 1981. I'm sure they still have it. It's a 1981 Paul Stanley Iceman, but the binding was all chipped up. So I was like, I don't know if I want to. If I'm gonna get an Iceman, Paul Stanley, I want the nice binding.
Right. Now, did it have the shattered mirror finish?
No, no, I had the mirrored pick guard, and it's pretty all original stuff.
Nice.
Sounded great, felt great. It was just a player grade guitar, and
I
for
am
that
angry that
style
you
of
own a Crackle,
guitar.
Michael Krause. He says, I own a Crackle. Ben will be angry that I own a Crackle. I am, Mike. I am.
You can just crackle one of your own guitars.
Yeah, right. Honestly, the paint was fine when I took it outside. What?
Yeah.
See, they're all saying hey to each other. That's fine. Ryan Hall's recommending a back surgeon. That's fine.
Thank you. I don't think I need a surgeon. I just need a massage. But every now and then, my posture, my sitting posture is bad if I'm working a lot, and then the next day
Same.
it's thrown out. So
Right.
hasn't happened in a while, thankfully. But
it's a Washburn EC36 just to make Ben feel worse. Well, that's great, Mike. Appreciate that. He is my nemesis in the YouTube world, RJ.
I can tell.
He'll get gear that I don't care for, let's say like a Dane Electro, and I'm like, dude, they're so overpriced. He goes, yeah, but I paid $40 for it. I'm like, oh, well, at that price, you have to buy it. He literally found a Mesa Mark III in the trash.
What?
I know.
What
annoying.
trash is this? What trash can is this?
I know, right? Like, I can understand maybe in Nashville, of all places to find an amp in the trash, it might be Nashville, but no. Oh, my knees hurt is here. Good to see you. Searching for Tone says, if RJ were to have a signature LPD, why would it be a phaser?
Do I use phaser a lot? I don't think. Well, what would be an LPD signature RJ pedal? I mean,
That's
it
a
would
good
have to be
question.
like distortion and chorus, probably.
I can see that. What's up, BC Rich? Yeah. Brian has taken up the fight of getting Lawrence to release a phaser after myself and Unfucking Believable gave up. He basically asked us to stop badgering him about making one. So
it's up to me to tell him to make a phaser?
Apparently now. Or Brian's taken up the mantle because we had Lawrence on a few weeks ago. And I said, I will not ask him about a phaser. And then that was Brian's first question to Lawrence. When are you going to do a phaser? Michael Cross says, don't you have a signature pedal? Yes.
I do. I have the Mythos Susmariosip, which was a limited edition. So if you can find one, buy it because they don't make it anymore.
Same. Although I have been talking to Lawrence about a new pedal collaboration.
Yeah. I think you told me about that.
Maybe.
You had a good name for it, didn't you? Or you had a name idea? Maybe I'm thinking of
something else. I did do that, yeah. But this was more like, because I've noticed he's really into the whole amp in a box thing. So, based on the success of the 55, and I don't know how close it would be, is basically, it's like, you need to do a Princeton in a box.
That's a great amp.
Right? I was like, that needs to be done. Johnny says, I actually own Ben's signature pedal. Cool.
Nice. That's right. Nice drive, eh?
The latest owner of one would be Mr. Matt McCullum, who maybe during the 420 edibles special that we did may have accidentally ordered one online during the show. He did.
As you do.
Yeah. And he meant to offer $30 off, but he offered $3 off. So say the seller accepted the offer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Get him to do a Garnet Herzog in a pedal. Well, yeah, ARF, that would be amazing. Eddie Faye is here. Eddie Faye says, distortion and chorus, essential for 80s rock. Yes.
Yeah, but it would have to be different than the Rockman. It's have to be like his own, I know, high gain chorus. Stereo would be awesome.
Yes. Like almost like an SLO into a stereo chorus.
Yeah, that's all you need.
That's it right there. And it could just be a stereo pedal right there. Dual output. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
PC Rich 5 says Garnet Herzog sounds like a German director. It does, but actually an amplifier made in Winnipeg back in the day. Which actually I remember mentioning to Derek from Rev that they need to do the Garnet Herzog since they're also an amplifier company based in Winnipeg. Which for some reason, I don't know why, but Winnipeg's always been a hotbed for amplifier production in Canada.
Why is that?
I have no idea. That would be like Bismarck, Montana being the amp capital.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. But they are. Noise Bloom says, RJ, do you have a pink 87?
Yes. I have it somewhere.
What's up, Joe Alba? He says, cheers all. I love the chorus talk. My analog man chorus got a good workout last night at a gig. Nice.
It's a good one. I have the bi-chorus. Is that what it is? Yeah, the bi-chorus. Analog man bi-chorus.
Nice. There's brother Trev. He comments, the reason so many amps come out of Winnipeg is because there's nothing else to do in Manitoba.
Hey. I've never been up there. My Canadian experience is extremely limited.
So is mine.
Really? You've never like taken vacations to the west side or anything?
No. The furthest west I've been is Windsor, so that'll be south of Detroit, in your old neck of the woods.
Oh yeah.
I've been east all the way to Cape Breton Island. Spent a long weekend there once. I'm good. I'm not really into hanging out on an island in the North Atlantic, even in July. It was freaking cold.
Yeah.
I've actually traveled much more in the U.S. than I have in Canada. Just crazy.
Is that a normal thing for Canadians just to not really travel around Canada? Like,
well,
you don't go to Vancouver,
like it would be more to visit family than necessarily vacation destinations, I think.
But do people that grew up in Toronto move to Vancouver when they're adults at any point, or is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
You get a lot of people that will move from the East Coast. It used to be to Ontario. Like my dad did that. He moved from the East Coast to Ontario because all the manufacturing jobs were there. Yeah. And then you get a lot of people that would move from here out to Vancouver because that's where the music scene has always been the best.
Interesting. Really?
Especially when I was in high school, because
more than Toronto?
Oh yeah. Toronto was known more for cover bands in the late 80s, early 90s than anything original. The only original band that came out in the 80s really out of Toronto was Blue Rodeo for the most part. But Vancouver was just a hotbed. Like we had a ton of Vancouver bands, and then you had Bob Rock doing his thing at Little Mountain Studio. So that was like literally Mecca in the late 80s, early 90s. All those albums were coming out of there.
Yeah.
Trev Symmetry here always rubs my nose in it because he worked at the Keg restaurant in Vancouver and got to make James Hetfield a steak one night because he was in town recording the Black Album.
Nice.
He was at the Pantera show where Tommy Lee got his head shaved at the Commodore. Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. Just keep rubbing it in, bud. There's 4. So Vancouver's a beautiful place, great food, and cool theater scene. Sure. I believe it.
It's a beautiful city.
Yeah. I've always wanted to go to Vancouver. I almost moved to Vancouver out of high school because that was my idea. I was going to move to Vancouver and become a rock star. But during my last year of high school, it was like monthly seeing friends moving back from Vancouver. I'm like, oh, all right, this is not good because I was going to crash on their couches for a few weeks here and there. And not so much.
Is it more expensive out in Vancouver compared to Toronto?
Yes, Vancouver's more expensive than Toronto, but the two of them alone are like twice the cost of living as anywhere else in Canada.
Right.
Like,
so it's like New York and LA.
Yeah, like New York and LA for housing. What's up, Braxel? I know it's not too late, Trev. We'll get there at some point. Yeah, a city that no one could afford to live in. Yeah, pretty much BC.
That's a lot of cities.
Yeah, most major cities are that way. Nice. There's our Canadiana talk for the evening, folks. Praxel, so what are you guys up to? We're waiting for you to show up. That's basically it. Eddie Face says university and a stuffy office job wasn't in the cards for you as a backup plan, Ben? No. The idea was that if I was going to go to college, I was looking at actually University of British Columbia because they had a decent music program. Because other than that, it was Sheridan College, I believe it was. No, Humber College in Toronto had the music program for Canada, but it was literally 4,000 guitar players applying for 4 spots every year.
Wow.
And I just remember, like literally, it was comical for the times, RJ, because like I graduated in 92, so grunge hit literally while I was in my last year of school.
Mm-hmm.
So, but going into that, because Humber was more progressive, they weren't just strictly jazz anymore. They allowed shred as well. And we had our main live room for our music room, and then off of it had all the little ISO booths type thing. And it would literally be guys with half stacks and full stacks in little ISO rooms, just Eruption and Ingve and everything just shredding away. And I remember
That's
one time
hilarious.
he came in, he had the biggest Eric Carr hair because he literally went and got a perm for his audition so he could really look the part, and they overdid it. So he had this absolutely huge blonde afro of curls, and he's like, I can't go looking like this.
I mean, who are the teachers? If they allowed shred as something you could study or whatever, were the teachers like anyone famous? Anyone that we would know?
I do know Rick Emmett from Triumph would come in from time to time to do the classical portion.
Oh, wow.
Beyond that, I can't remember who it was, but it was like Toronto studio guys, I believe. That's kind of what it was. Like the teachers also work doing session work and stuff, and it's just insane. And I'm just like, I was saying to my friends, I was like, are you applying? They're like, oh, hell no. And I went, well, you're like the monster player in school, like compared to me. I'm like, I was doing the grunge thing before grunge, essentially, because I was just like, I'm just kind of a rhythm player that likes to play loud and ornery like Neil Young, Crazy Horse stuff. Yeah. So I don't think that's going to go over in a school setting.
You don't need skill for that.
No. But then I thought, I could do the fallback. Yeah, the fallback was classical at UBC. That was the fallback plan. Very Ralph Macchio, I think. That was
I started my college career with a fallback plan.
Right.
I went in for music engineering, and I hated it because I had to learn calculus and all this science and math that I didn't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I just want to play, or I just want to work in a studio or something. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but that lasted not even a year, and then I changed the majors.
Marcel says, doesn't McGill have a music program? Yeah, they do, but that's heavily on the classical, like heavily. Marcel, because McGill's kind of an Ivy League school. Hey, it's my sister Amanda. What's up, sis?
Hey, Sister Amanda. Oh, trying to figure out why
Let's
my
see.
charger's not working.
Let's go through, see if I missed any questions here. If I did, maybe ask again, folks. No, you're right, Terry. I did tech support for that computer company. That was not fun.
Hold on, I gotta get a drink real quick.
Not a problem. Everyone's saying hi to Amanda. We got 72 people watching. Please hit the like. Please subscribe if you're new. Helps fell out. I can answer that, Braxton. I took her grocery shopping. It was all the food was available. Excuse me. And thank you, Terry. In case you're not aware, RJ himself has a YouTube channel, folks, and you might want to check it out.
I forgot.
Well, see, we spoke about him enough, and then here he is, Lawrence, LPD Pedals himself.
They want you to make a phaser.
Michael B., good to see you. He says, hey, all people, toured Berkeley in Boston in 87. I should have applied. I was sick of school by then. I get it.
Phase A.
Phase A. Yeah. Well, my idea was phaser, but spell it Phehser.
Yeah, totally. Azer.
Mm-hmm. Donnie asked, Santana to Tupac. What was that like? Ooh, going back old school.
Well, I only got paid for one of those sessions.
The other was done for experience, right? Or exposure.
Pretty well. I don't know. It was my first lesson in how to deal with the music industry, I guess. The Santana session came out. I was like the third person this producer called because his first call people weren't available this last minute or something. So it's basically he had a demo from Chad Kroeger from Nickelback for this song, and I basically overdubbed rhythm guitar parts over Chad Kroeger's demo, basically. And then that got sent to LA where Tim Pierce and Lee Sklar and other session guys put more stuff on it. And then Santana put his soloing on it.
Right.
And that was it. And I think they actually kept Chad Kroeger's demo vocals on it.
It's interesting.
And the Tupac thing was a hard drive of old Tupac tracks that this producer I was working with just made a new song over his vocal tracks.
Nice. Let's see. Billy, or Sir William of Bologna III, says, you've worked with a lot of artists. Who was your favorite?
Ooh. Favorite? Man. Probably Corey Taylor. It was just a fun hang.
Mm-hmm.
And the shows were fun. So, the Stone Sour gigs and then some of those Corey Taylor gigs. Just maybe because it was so different than what I'm used to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that I enjoy doing, like the harder rock stuff.
Sure.
That it was a breath of fresh air. But really the hang was cool. It was fun, a lot of laughter, a lot of jokes.
It is an important factor.
Great shows. Yeah. And the shows were great.
I always say as a professional, you got to get at least 2 out of 3. Either the music's got to be good, it's got to pay well, or the hang's got to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
And You hope for at least 2 out of 3. So that's Dwight Bailey. Because you will play some shitty music, folks, if the pay's right and the good and the people are cool. I'm just saying. Steve asks, RJ, ever do any collabs with Sean Tubbs? I think you guys would sound great together.
We haven't. I don't think Sean's collabed with anybody that I know of. I mean, I've been to Sean's house. I've seen him at events, but we never even talked about doing some kind of jammed thing together. That would be great. I totally enjoy him as a person and him as a player.
Ooh. Eddie Faces, to piggyback off that question, what artists would you like to play with, but they've yet to realize that they want or need your help?
Oh, that's great. I was thinking about that the other day. I'd love to play with Lenny Kravitz. He's like one of those guys that I didn't realize that I liked so much. Like I saw him in high school like a long time ago, probably right when Are You Gonna Go My Way came out.
I saw that tour as well.
And after that, I think I just kind of like cross paths now and then with him. But I just listening to his catalog of stuff. I'm like, he's so good. And he's such a great commanding stage presence, and just has a good,
Yeah,
he knows how to play music. He knows how to
put
play
on a great
good
show.
music.
Nice song.
Do you remember who opened that tour on your at your show?
Yes, Blind Melon.
We got Raging Slab.
Wow.
Do you remember Raging Slab?
About as well as I remember Blind Melon. Yeah. Marcel just wrote me. I think he said phaser. I may have. Thank you, Marcel. My sister actually, I'm trying to think. Yeah, there's a few people I'd like to. We were talking about that the other night. It'd be like, who would you like to? What famous musician would you hang out with, but you can't talk about their career?
Any of them, really. I mean, if I met some famous musician, I definitely wouldn't ask about career stuff with them. Or like, remember that time, you remember that Chris Farley skit?
Right.
I wouldn't do anything like that.
I was thinking one of the top of my list would probably be Billy Gibbons. I think he might be the coolest hanging out there.
Yeah. Have you met him?
No. I'd like to.
He's
came close.
He's in
at
Nashville.
an AM show. Yeah, it was one of those. I went into a booth there. Oh, Billy Gibbons was just here. I'm like, what? Excuse me? What? Dang it. Can't talk music at all. Nothing about playing. Yeah, I'd be cool with Billy Gibbons because I just talk cars with him probably. Anyway, so.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure he's got lots of stories.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome stories. Can't talk music at all. Nothing about playing. Oh.
Willie Nelson would be cool too. Well, Willie's got some stories.
Any of them. Would I want to talk to? Probably someone that's really, really funny.
Ronnie Wood as well. He'd be another one. Or Peter Frampton. He'd be another. Peter Frampton just seems like such a nice guy. Wow, I got to go back. My sister had a cool question. Let's see where that was. If you could go back to any year in music history and be offered similar gigs, what year would you go to? Ooh. Subtail Boil music? That's a good question.
Somewhere around like 89, 90.
Nice.
I feel like, yeah, there was like a golden age of sessions as well as like live tours and gigs.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Mark Taft in the house. Lee says, I'd like to meet Paul Gilbert. I was lucky enough to meet Paul Gilbert. He said, I'm really busy, but we can walk and talk at the same time. No, we can't, because his strides are so long. I was almost jogging to keep up with him. And then he went, here's my business card. And he handed me a guitar pick. So I was like, oh.
Great.
And I did the classic Simpsons thing. I'm like, hey, you're Paul Gilbert. I didn't do the follow-up. I know you from this, and this, and this.
It said, hey, you look like Paul Gilbert.
Do you know who you are? Ooh, if you could form a super group, who would be in it and what genre of music?
Oh man, super group.
Wow. I don't know. I kind of like the idea of the 5-piece with the organ.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
A Deep Purple
So
White Snake-ish. Organ or keys. It could lead into keys. I like that idea.
Who would I pick though? That's a hard one. That's like something I got to spend like a day like thinking about.
Right. I want to be, okay, can I be in a band like similar to Zeppelin where every album was kind of different music so we can cover multiple genres during one show?
Yeah.
Well, much people mention Alex Lifeson. Ooh, Rush? Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Kind of a proggy thing. That'd be interesting. Can I be the fourth member of Rush just to fill out the sound? Is that allowable? I would really like that.
Richard Nagamitsu. I don't know Aaron Lee. I know of him, but I've never met him. I don't think I have.
If you could write a soundtrack to any movie, which one would you pick? Outside of Top Gun? Because I could see RJ reimagining the soundtrack to Top Gun.
Probably like a Pulp Fiction type of thing.
I'm going to go with Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Oh, yeah.
It definitely have to be an 80s film, though, because then you can do your 80s pop, your 80s rock, you know.
Then I choose Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Ooh. Good call. When you're not immersed in music, what other hobbies, interests, or even mundane stuff do you enjoy doing? Ooh.
Oh, man. Fortnite, kettlebells, van camping, I guess.
Ryan Hall, I assume that's a question for me. Did you ever meet John Prine with your dad? I did not. Knowingly. Possible I could have been a toddler tagging along with him, but I doubt it. I don't think so. I'm sure that would have come up in conversation. Have you ever met John Prine before he passed, RJ? Being
No.
Nashville resident?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I never did.
That is a regret of mine.
What year did he pass? Was I even here in Nashville?
It was 2020. I think it was like early COVID. He passed away.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, 4 recommends you do a redo the soundtrack for Back to the Future.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
That'd be cool.
That'd be a good one.
Lucinda Williams, Richard, was also asking if you've met.
Oh, no. No, I'm a big fan, though.
Apparently Richard's friends with her and Aaron. Cool.
Who's playing guitar with Lucinda now? Or was with the last guitar player that was playing with Lucinda?
Good question. That I don't know. My sister says, you've got 15 minutes to prepare for a fill-in gig for a buddy. You don't know what you'll be playing till you get there. What do you grab?
Mm.
Ooh. That's a good question.
I don't know what I'll be playing, so I have no clue what the genre or the gear is.
Yep.
Oh, what's my do-it-all gear? I mean,
It's like the quick answer would be like a quad cortex
probably
with a
take a
bunch
Les
of
Paul. Yeah.
I was thinking Les Paul, maybe a Telly as well.
Yeah. I only say Les Paul because the humbuckers and noise and
Mm-hmm.
you know it's always a safe bet.
Was it Doug Rappaport that was playing with Lucinda? Because I see Richard says, I think
No,
Doug
it's
Doug Pettibone. Voice of Cornhole just said.
oh.
My sister's
Yeah,
like, I should
that's
make
right.
escape room for guitarists.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah.
That's right.
Here's
Jim
the
Oblin.
scenario. Well, I've been there. I remember literally getting a text at 6:45 in the evening. Hey, what are you doing tonight? Not much. You want to play bass for me? I don't own a bass rig, but I'll see what I can do. And did. And I love the follow-up is, should I send you the set list? Like it's going to make a difference. You're playing in an hour and a half. No, I'll just watch your left hand.
That happens a lot in Nashville, where musicians will just get, the Broadway musicians will just get last minute calls, and they have to know the stuff, or they have to have the iPad they have to have a familiarity with the stuff, which I can't even imagine, like the
Right.
amount of songs that these guys sort of know enough to get through the gig with.
Mm-hmm. Dale Boyle Music asks, have you met or worked with Kenny Vaughn? I love Kenny's playing. He's done some work with Lucinda. Yeah, Kenny Vaughn is a treasure.
We've crossed paths in town, like somewhere I can't remember. Might have been a Summer NAMM show or something. First time I saw Kenny was with Marty at a South by Southwest in like 2004, 2003, like one of the early ones.
Oh, wow.
And
Nice.
it was they opened up for Hank 3 at some club in Austin, some little dinky club in Austin, and man, Hank 3 blew everybody away. That was a crazy show.
Mm.
Hank 3, of course, is Hank Williams III, kind of cowpunk. Well, not even cowpunk. It's a mixture of hillbilly and metal at the time, at least.
Lee says, just give me a bass to borrow. I'll play it. That's what I did. I borrowed a bass, borrowed an amp. My sister says, what question do you dislike being asked the most?
Um,
When are you going to do another tour vlog?
no, I don't know. In general, it's always anything like, so how'd you get into music, or how'd you get your start? So it's like you got to tell the same story over and over again, which is fine, but that's one question that I feel like I've answered many, many times, so it feels like
I like that. What kind of music do you play?
Do you play rhythm or lead guitar?
Yes. I always think of my old bass player Larry. He had the perfect response. What kind of music do you play? You'd always say good music. And then the follow-up, it was always, well, what do you consider not good music? And he would reply stuff we don't play.
They say here, and I play both. I like both kinds of music, country and Western.
Charles is like, I get it. I won't ask it. Which is funny because Charles does a Sunday show on Sunday mornings called Chat with Charles. And his first question to his guest each time is, how did your guitar journey begin?
Yeah.
So he
Oh,
won't.
yeah, I get it. I get it. It's fine.
Yep.
But now I'm starting to consider having different, what do you call it? Origin stories.
Unbelievable asks, Greg Koch is a monster player. Ever jam with him?
No, I've never really technically met him. I've seen him at the NAMM show, but we've never introduced
Play
each
his guitar
other.
once. He was trying to sell me his new signature. He had just released his signature set of pickups, the Fishmans.
Yeah.
And he's at
Was that-
Sweetwater
that was here.
Gear Fest when I was
Oh,
there.
no.
And he starts playing. I'm like, well, of course those pickups sound great. I'm like, it's you, Greg. He goes, well, fine. He takes off his guitar and hands it to me, which immediately it's like, whoa, down to my waist. I'm like, all right.
He's a
Yeah,
big guy.
that's a long strap. I'm pretty sure he uses a bass strap on it just to make it normal for him. And they did sound good, but I passed. Everyone's talking about stuff. It looks like, Ryan Hall's going in for surgery. Well, hope you heal up quick.
Best of luck.
Yeah. Which is on Tuesday. Well, if you're back home by Wednesday, reminder to your channel members and patrons, this Wednesday at 7 p.m., we're doing our Zoom hang for the second one of the month. So look for the link once Charles creates it. I just thought of that. Tom Lind is here. See, what thing do new players have to do you wish you had when you started? YouTube lessons? Cheap, decent guitars? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the abundance of gear and the relatively, budget friendliness of some of them.
Mm-hmm.
Because, when we started, how much was like a distortion pedal?
Almost as much as they are
Like
now.
$100, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, now you got like, $50 distortion pedals,
Mm-hmm.
$30. I'm trying to remember, like, how
Hell,
much
you
the
get a good sounding
DOD
practice amp these days. You couldn't get a good sounding practice amp.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, stuff was not cheap. I know, like, especially around here, because here our local music store charged full retail because they had the contract with the school board, so they could charge full retail for everything. So it was ridiculous. Wow. Really expensive. And they carried like PV pedals, which were not cheap.
They looked cool.
They did. They were very 80s looking, I'm not gonna lie.
I wanted the pink one, of course.
Of course. Guitar amp question. Any experience and thoughts on the Magnatone 1x12 Twilighter?
I don't think I've played that one. I feel like I played one Magnatone a couple of years ago. I can't remember the model. And it was great. But I haven't played one of those new Twilighters. I mean, a lot of great players are using Magnatone these days.
That's true. That's true. I like that amp you demoed yesterday. That was quite nice.
The Car.
Mm-hmm.
It was really, Car makes some really great amps, especially low wattage stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that one was the Skylark Special. The one before I did was the Bellroy or something. And he does like a really nice built-in attenuator in those amps, and that sounds really good.
Cool. Richard says, have you played any Kroz pedals? Krozz.
I have not. I don't think I'm familiar.
Let
me look it up.
And to answer Billy's question, were PV pedals the ones with the round rubber bump on the switch? Yes.
Yes. Like the hot foot distortion.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. There was a guy, he's still gigging locally, and he was teaching guitar at the local store when I started playing. And I went out to see him play a few years ago, and he had not only PV pedals that he clearly bought at that time, but he had the PV molded PVC pedal board like Boss had. Same idea with the built-in power supply. And we're just like, my God, not only do you have PV pedals, but you apparently have all the PV pedals because it's like 5 or 6 pedals on his board. And he's like, yeah, bought them all in like 1988 and they all work. So I was like, okay.
I wonder if he bought the display model.
He may have. Zach Thong says, on Wednesday, I'll have something very cool to show, not seen anymore. All right. Very cool.
All right.
Zach. That's right, Marcel. Help fell out and hit that like if you haven't already, folks. Johnny says my practice amp in the beginning was my stereo jerry-rigged. My problem was my dad being a jerk. When I started playing, I just started using his gear until I got my own. So he had a Telecaster and a Silverface Vibrolux, which clean, yes, but I wanted to sound like Angus Young, RJ.
Yeah,
so
we all did.
I set it all up and it was like plank, plank, super clean. I was like, ooh, this is not cool. So I come out to the living room and I said to Dad, I'm like, I'm trying to sound like Angus Young. Like, he goes, oh, just turn up the gain. That'll get you there. Oh, okay. And I'm looking at all the knobs, and there's a volume and a bass and a mid and a treble and reverb and the vibrato. There's no gain knob. And I come back, I'm like, there's no gain knob. He goes, nah, because real players don't need gain. I'm like, oh, wow, Dad, harsh. And then he laughed. See ya, Arf.
See ya, Arf.
Because he was the guy that played a Telecaster at stage volume into a clean Fender amp. There's no hiding. Like, no.
It's a good sound. It's a good sound, but that's not Angus Young.
No, that's not what 14-year-old Ben wanted to hear. I'll tell you that right now. Until I got a Boss DF2, the distortion feedbacker.
I never played that one.
Which is basically a DS1 and then you hold down the pedal and that would kick in your feedback, which was whatever note you want. Well, it allowed you to start figuring out the intro to Loud Love because I didn't have any kind of infinity thing to do that, but it didn't work the same. I tried. Mostly clean, Terry, but not Fender clean. That's for sure. Tom Lynn says, didn't Dane Electro have a pedal set up like that with board and stuff? You could get all the colors. I believe they did.
Oh, yeah.
The Electro
ones?
No. The Fab series? No, they were all gray. But they had little ones that were the miniature. I think they did. Yeah, it was like the size of the Fab series, but they were still metal enclosures like the bigger ones.
They had, what was it? They had like the really cheap ones that were plastic. I remember buying.
Those were the Fabs, which were anything but Fab.
Yeah. EV large PA now. That's kind of cool. I have to look that up.
No, never done that. I got MXR knobs on a couple of guitars because that's an AVH. Other than that, I just prefer tele knobs on everything. I think it's my favorite style.
My favorite.
If I have a favorite style of knob, that's some serious nerdery right there. What's favorite guitar knob?
Yeah, I've gotten. It really depends on the guitar, though, to me. And it's not even a look thing; it's more of a feel.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like the like cupcake knobs or something, or maybe like what they called like Hershey chocolate knobs or something.
Okay. I like the Telly ones, yeah, because that texture, I can just grab it like with a pinky and just make sure they're all the way up.
Yeah.
What's up, Brendan? Good to see you, butt cheeks. How's the acting gig going? Followed up by the chrome Gretsch knobs with the G on the knob.
It's a nice knob.
Oh, yeah, it was the food pedals. That's what it was. The mini food pedals that were all different colors. Because, of course, Michael owns one. Yeah, the hot tuna.
Food.
That was the big one. The hot tuna, I think. Which I don't think I want hot tuna. That sounds bad. Telly knobs are the best, according to William. Wrapped yesterday, one final scene. It will be done. Thanks for asking. Awesome, Brendan. Brendan Buttcheeks there. Brendan B. Squared is one of the co-hosts of Show Me Your Pick on Saturday nights over on the Fruitcake Tony channel. But he's been doing some acting during the day the last little while over in, I think, in Brooklyn. He was working.
Nice.
I was going to say where you can show off. They'll choose a certain part. Like last night was Steve Ray Vaughan, which, by the way, episode 251 for Steve Ray Vaughan. Come on, guys. That should have been top 10. But then Fruitcake Tony, who has a legendary pick collection, will start showing off like picks like this. You went, ooh, that he picked. Yeah, that's one of yours, RJ.
Oh, yeah.
That was a gift for Sir William of Bologna III. Not sure where the origin of where he got it was, but he gave it to me when we met in person.
He must have, I don't know, maybe either bought a record or a pedal.
Exactly. Maybe he'll mention in here. What's up, Brad, Guitar Man in Texas? He says playing Montrose and Johnny Winter with a twin reverb in the early 70s was a challenge. I bet. And he says, so that's where it went. And he bought a record.
That's right. I used to stick them on when people bought the records.
Back when people bought records. Although I was listening to vinyl today. I listened to side one of Alan Parsons' project, Eye in the Sky, while making dinner.
Nice.
Apparently it took one side of a vinyl to make dinner tonight.
Yeah.
BC says, I have a few RJ picks from a pedal off. He bought pedal off yours off reverb. There we go.
I still got a bunch. I like them. You know, those, they're Dunlop flow shapes.
Mm-hmm.
I used to use them all the time, and then I got really, really nerdy and started buying all these different kinds of picks. And now I use those blue chips.
Ryan Hall's commenting. Neither one of us has given him a pick. I don't have signature picks, Ryan. I'm still using picks that I scammed at the last NAMM show I went to in 2020.
You should get some custom picks for merch.
I should.
Or your business card.
I should. But yeah, I got greedy at that last NAMM show because I used to grab one or two picks off a table, and then it was like, nope, 10. I don't care. And then I come home each day with 100+ picks in my pocket because
that's great.
But now I'm set for life because my idea was to try to offset airfare by guitar picks. I put a pretty good dent. If you figured they're worth 25 cents a piece, and put a good dent in.
NAMM's a good way to get merch or picks, tote bags from the Marshall booth.
Mm-hmm. I didn't get a Marshall one. I had orange amps. I still use my Rev one because it was a nice canvas one. Mm-hmm. I use it because I always take a pedal and picks and some other stuff in a bag every time I go to shoot demos. So, because I found the LPD Dutch is the perfect overdrive pedal for demoing because pretty much any guitar sounds good through a Dutch.
Yeah.
And then you put that into a Princeton, which any guitar sounds good into a Princeton. And it's just, it made my life a lot easier. Until they go and sell the Princeton at the store, and then I got away from the ordering another Princeton. which
What's
the
your
last one they
backup?
sold.
What's your second demo amp that you like to use?
They have
Guitar.
a couple Fender Twins there. Usually I just grab a Fender amp of some kind. I tried using Voxes, but apparently I sound terrible through a Vox, which sucks. Use some Marshalls sometimes.
Voxes are interesting amps. To me, they're like, it depends what kind of guitar you're playing. And, they have a very specific tone depending on the guitar.
Let's see here. Brendan B. Squared says, RJ is the reason that I have my Dane Electro 59X in seafoam green and a cash cow pedal. Love that guitar.
That's a great guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Something about that pickup, the lipstick humbucker pickup in that sounds really different.
Yeah, hopefully they haven't. Actually, I got to go and shoot some more demos, and hopefully they haven't sold that amp. Last one they sold, they're like, the guy was remarking how well it sounded because it was all broken in because I put 100 hours of playing through that amp, and it had the Cannabis Direct speaker fully broken in, sounded amazing, and then they sold it. But hopefully no one will buy that one for a while. Richard Clark says, I offset giving Halloween candy by saving my Sweetwater all year. Wow.
That's what you got to do.
I like that idea, though. Nice. Let's have some good questions here this evening. I like it. Is there any news on the front from Transatlantic Radio?
I was actually finishing up guitar tracks on, I believe, the last song.
Mm-hmm.
So we're still looking at sometime July, August as a release date.
Nice.
I believe. I know we have to get our stuff in by the end of June, so it's after that it really depends on the speed of the company getting their stuff together and putting it all up and printing whatever they need to print. But sometime this year, I'm assuming.
Nice. Look forward to that. I enjoy the
Yeah.
content over there. Nice little flashback.
Yeah, we're actually we have a thread going for the album artwork. So we're trying to decide on some designs. So it's moving along.
Nice. Oh, thank you, Jose. Jose G with the super chat. Good evening, everyone. RJ, where are you on Friedman amps these days? Really enjoy your videos on the product line. Thanks.
I use the Twin Sister all the time. Like, that's kind of my number one amp for demos. I have been considering getting something a little more robust, maybe 100 watts or something, but I think that would be a little bit overkill at this point. But I'm totally enjoying the Dirty Shirley Twin Sister sound. It works great for what I do. But
Agreed.
100-watt amps are always more fun.
Zach Thong with the question here. Boom. Has RJ ever heard of Stuckless Guitars? That's the builder of my acoustics. He builds for people in Nashville.
No, never heard of Stuckless. Let me look them up.
They're very nice guitars. I wish I could have played Zach's when he showed them off to me, except he's a lefty, so I couldn't.
Oh, Roger Stuckless. I like the shapes.
There's Aaron from Albus. He was off playing a festival yesterday and then hanging out with the kids today. Nothing wrong with that. I assume the set went well, Aaron. Actually, I think I saw the vlog. Never mind. I already know. Yeah, Aaron and I were FaceTiming on his way to the gig.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Where was the gig? Or the festival?
Yeah, where was that, Aaron? Outside of Chicago, I assume, because he's outside of Chicago.
Yes, Ryan Hall, we will have CDs.
He was quite upset about the digital only content that most artists are doing these days.
Well, thankfully, the AOR crowd, especially in Europe and Asia, prefer CDs to streaming. It's something built into that whole AOR crowd thing. They like
Mm-hmm.
buying actual physical music.
CDs are almost as good as vinyl. Just saying.
I'm not sure
Plano,
if the
Illinois.
yeah,
That's what it
Plano,
was. The
Illinois.
Hong Kong Pizza Party. That's right. That was the name of the festival. The Hong Kong Pizza Party.
That sounds like fun.
And thank you, Marcel, for the donation into the tip jar. If you have a question, post it in the chat. Helps fill out. Thank you. Randy says, I buy physical music. That's true. So do I when I can. And just a reminder, folks, I will be live again tomorrow night with Canucks with Guitars. I'll be playing some music, doing more Q&A. We'll be showing off some bad album covers, which, there's some bad ones this week, folks. And, yeah. And we're doing a special birthday hang this Thursday as well. I should mention that. This Thursday's my birthday, and I don't care what day of the week it is. I spend my birthday live streaming. And I'm not saying I'm going to be eating 2,500 milligrams of mushrooms extract, but I will be eating 2,500 milligrams of very 80s packaging, I must say, RJ. Kind of reminds me of Transatlantic Radio.
I like it.
Yeah.
Let me see that. So, is that a cola flavored gummy?
Yes. Nice. It tastes like cola in a damp basement. That's the only way. It's the most disgusting, foul smell. But you kind of see stuff if you eat enough of them. So there's that.
Wow.
So we figured, yeah, let's do that on a live stream.
That'd be fun.
Yep. And I will be having Symmetry co-hosting, and he'll have the ability to end the stream if we need to. Because otherwise it'll be half an hour of him saying, top right, Ben, top right, big red button says end stream. I don't see it.
So. Amazing.
Yeah. Aaron says, yeah, I didn't partake, but it was 2 days of camping / cabins, street vendors, and bands. Show was awesome. Nice.
Nice. Hong Kong Pizza Party. That what it's called?
Yep. Oh, thanks. The donation was for cat litter. Well, myself and the cat are thankful, Marcel. Randy says, I just did some of those shroom gummies this afternoon. Awesome. Well, Randy, you're more than welcome to come on Thursday and partake along with me. I think Hip Metalworks is going to do some actual mushrooms on air. That'll be interesting.
Nice.
Well, he lives in BC where they just grow everywhere, which is rather annoying, but kind of good too. So, yeah, that'll be fun. And then, of course, the Water Buffalo meeting for channel members and patrons on Wednesday, before I forget. What's up, Clem? He says, shrooms stink because of the environment they grow in back in the day. I've seen shrooms growing out of Buddy's foot. Ouch.
Yeah, don't eat those.
No. Can I ask how much that teener cost in Canada? This was a total of 3,500 milligrams for $35. But
how many gummies is it
that they're $2.50 a piece, so 14. Wow, that was quick. See, I'm not doing them. You can tell. There's math in my head. But yeah, on the res, they're really, really cheap. So I think that would cost at least twice that in a legal dispensary, we'll call it.
Oh.
Well, you can also pick them out at cow patties, Richard Clark. That's the other option. Just make sure there's no bulls around. Oh, and Ryan Hall will be on pain meds for the Water Buffalo meeting. Nice.
Hey.
It's quality right there. Awesome. Well, folks, we'll go a little bit longer here. If you got any last questions, get them on in. It's always a bunch of fun. And I did take an ibuprofen for my hip before the show started. Aha.
Oh, maybe I should take an ibuprofen. That'll be good.
For who's going to tell Ben he's actually sitting on his toilet talking to his cat? Wow. Wow.
Nobody.
No.
That's
What's up, Milt?
That's the beauty of the stream.
Right. Milk tea in the house. Exactly. You can watch. There's lots of YouTube channels that do nice, safe, vanilla live streaming. I am not one of those. More of a discretionary warning. Michael Chris says, there's a dairy farm near me. I'll avoid the buffalo farm. Yeah, good idea. And Richard Clark's birthday is on Saturday. Nice.
All right. Happy early birthday.
Mm-hmm. All right. See you, Randy. Have a good one. He's probably out golfing on shrooms. Jesus, golfing on shrooms.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. I don't know
At
about that.
night, golfing at night on shrooms.
Right. With a glow-in-the-dark ball, that would be so awesome. The tracers would just be freaking amazing. See you, Lee. Have a good one. Well, looks like everyone's kind of heading out here. All right. Well,
thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed the show this evening. Yeah, it's always a fun time. We'll definitely do it again, as what we do. And we didn't wait a year this time. So there's that.
When was the last time I was here?
January.
Oh, wow.
Just before the release of the Rockman pedal that you couldn't.
That's right.
That I had basically ordered shortly thereafter. So I'm like, I heard this is coming out. Put one aside because I assume as an MXR dealer you'll have some. He's like, I can't confirm I have this many. And then we basically, unfucking believable, actually bought a bunch. He says, send one to Ben, send one to me, and keep one for yourself. He said to the dealer. I'm like, what the hell is that about?
Wow, that's how you do it.
Yeah. Ooh, Brad, there's a good question. What gauge strings do you prefer?
I'm a 10 to 46 guy for the most part, but I have some guitars that have 11s, some guitars that have 9s, some guitars that have 12s.
Well, see, now right at the end, there's Tom.
Now he comes out.
Right. Nice to see Tommy. My sister says, thanks for being here, RJ. I wish you much success. Aww.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's very nice to say. Throwing lawn darts way up there and running away. Jeez, Tom. How did you survive childhood? But yes. Braxel likes the 9.5 gauge. I just recently switched late last year from 9 through 42 to 9 through 46. They just found on certain guitars, the 42 gets a little flubby for drop D.
Exactly. I started experimenting with string gauges, so I bought like individual string packs. Not string packs, but individual strings like D'Addario and NYXLs.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot what I ended up doing, but it was like a 9.5, 13, 17, and then it was like 20, 24, 36, 46 or something weird. Basically, I couldn't find an already made set, so I had to make my own set, and it's not worth the effort, guys. It's not worth the price, and it's not worth the effort.
Right. I get it. Oh, Billy had a Frisbee with lights on it. So much fun when tripping balls. Nice.
Mm.
We find out all the good information here, folks. I'm just saying. Paul Leonard Ewing, I saw you earlier. Forgot to say hi. He says, love you guys. Do it often.
Nice to
I
see
think I might have
everybody.
met Paul in your chat many moons ago.
Yeah, probably.
Apparently, that's where Billy says we met, or Sir William of Bologna III was met in your chat. I think Braxel, too, for that matter. Well, there is Stringjoy Strings. That is true, Michael Krause.
Great company. Stringjoy sent me.
That's what Matt uses. Because Matt's always doing custom string gauges for his baritone, drop everything, tuning. Blah.
Yeah.
He's so angry. Like, Matt needs a hug. Although he's playing a lot more in standard tuning since he started hanging out with me. So there is that.
Yeah.
So we shall see.
Oh, that's a lot of console games, Tom.
Right? It's his Kai and his son. It's big time.
Yeah, that's a cool thing to start collecting. Are the old consoles?
I saw it. Yeah, they re-released from Atari a console that will work with the old games still, and you can still pick up those old games at like flea markets, $5-10 a piece for a lot of them.
Yeah,
which is crazy for something that's 40 years old.
Eric just texted me.
Wow. Braxel says, I've been listening to 3 live streams today. Pete Thorne, Tone Wars, and now Ben's. Wow. It's good company, I guess. Very nice. Ooh, look at Matt bragging how he's playing the standard all evening. Good.
There you go.
Good. Thanks, Jeff.
Not that bad.
Well, I think we should probably wrap things up. This is always a fun time, as said. I'll be back tomorrow night, folks. If you haven't already, please subscribe, ring the bell, hit the like, all that fun stuff. Make sure you sub to RJ's channel as well. He puts out demos pretty much daily, unless he doesn't.
Almost.
Yeah. It's like every time I hold up a guitar, I'm like, they're available wherever they're sold. So, there we go. So, yeah, hold the line here. So, thanks everybody that tuned in tonight. As always, hold those doors open. I don't know, my knees hurt in the heady end traffic. You know, do good things because karma is real. Happy tone chasing. Of course, don't litter. And I'll say it because Ryan Hall loves it as I sign off most of my demos. Have a great day so I don't have to.